I always thought discovering your husband's affair would feel like getting hit by a truck. Instead, it felt like finally reading a book that had been open in front of me for months. The signs were there. I just hadn't wanted to see them. My name is Nora, and 3 hours ago, I walked in on my husband Jacob kissing Savannah in my sister-in-law's kitchen. The worst part? They were supposed to be planning my anniversary surprise. "Oh my God," I whispered, my hand still on the doorknob. The wine bottle I'd brought crashed to the floor, sending dark red liquid across Louisa's precious marble tiles. Jacob jumped back from Savannah like she was on fire, but her lipstick was already smeared across his collar. "Nora, wait," he started, but I was already backing away. "Don't you dare move," I said, my voice steadier than I felt. "How long?" Savannah had the audacity to roll her eyes, adjusting her designer dress as if I'd merely interrupted a business meeting. Behind her, Louisa, my own sister-in-law, just sipped her wine, watching the scene unfold like it was reality TV. "It's not what you think," Jacob tried, but his face was flushed, guilty. I laughed. Actually laughed. "Really? Because I think my husband is screwing my sister-in-law's best friend in the middle of planning what was supposed to be our 10-year anniversary cruise." "The cruise?" Savannah's eyes lit up with cruel amusement. "Oh, honey, he wasn't planning anything with you." The room went silent. Even Louisa stopped mid-sip. "What?" I turned to Jacob, whose face had gone from red to white. "I was going to tell you," he stammered. "The cruise. I thought maybe we needed some time apart." "Some time apart?" I repeated slowly. "While you what? Take her instead?" Savannah's smirk said everything. "You know what?" Jacob's voice suddenly hardened. Yes, I am. Look at her, Nora. Look at you. When's the last time you even tried to look like this?" He gestured at Savannah's perfect figure. "The cruise will be better without you anyway. You'd probably just hide in the room, ordering room service like you always do." Louisa snorted into her wine glass. "He's not wrong, Nora. You've really let yourself go." I stood there, absorbing every word like bullets. 10 years of marriage, and this was what it came down to. My husband, his mistress, and my snake of a sister-in-law, all staring at me like I was nothing. But here's the thing about being underestimated. It gives you power they don't expect. I walked to the counter where Jacob's phone lay, picked it up, and calmly entered his passcode, 1234, because he'd always been terrible with security. "What are you doing?" he demanded. Checking something," I replied, opening his banking app. "Interesting. All those transfers to business development, they wouldn't happen to match the exact amounts needed to open a new nail salon, would they, Savannah?" The color drained from both their faces. "You think I'm stupid," I continued, my voice ice cold. "You think because I gained weight, because I stopped dressing like a Kardashian wannabe, that I stopped paying attention. But you know what I never stopped being, Jacob? Detail-oriented." "Give me my phone," he growled, stepping forward. I held up my hand. "Already done. Everything I needed was forwarded to my email 10 minutes ago, including those messages about the cruise, the one you booked for 2. Nora." "No," I cut him off. "You want the cruise? Fine. But remember something. You're not the only one with access to our accounts, and you're definitely not the only one who knows how to plan a surprise." I turned to leave, but Savannah's voice stopped me. "You're pathetic," she spat. "Look at yourself. No wonder he chose me." I smiled then, and it must have been something in that smile that made Jacob take a step back. "You're right," I said softly. "I should look at myself. In fact, I think it's time for a complete makeover." Walking out of that house, I could hear them laughing. Probably thought I was running home to cry into a pint of ice cream. But they didn't know me at all. You want to know what I did next? I booked the revenge of a lifetime. And trust me, it was going to be worth every penny of our joint account. The thing about revenge is that it works best when they don't see it coming. While Jacob probably expected me to be crying into my wine glass, I was actually on the phone with the cruise line. Yes, I'd like to make some changes to booking number CR7729, I said, pacing my home office. I need to remove one passenger and add another. Of course, ma'am. And the name to remove? Jacob Duncan. The words tasted like freedom. And to add? Audrey McDonald. My best friend's name brought an immediate smile to my face. Perfect. And I see you've already upgraded to the deluxe ocean view suite? That's right. I'd done that immediately after leaving Louisa's house, using our joint account. The same account Jacob used to fund Savannah's nail salon dreams. My phone buzzed with a text from Audrey. Girl, are you serious? A luxury cruise? Dead serious, I typed back. Pack your bikini. We sail in 3 weeks. While I was booking spa appointments and shore excursions, Jacob's Instagram showed him at his usual haunts. His latest post was a gym selfie with the caption, Summer body loading, chalk cruise ready. I smiled, knowing exactly what he didn't know. The next morning, I walked into Fierce Fitness, the gym I'd been secretly attending for the past month. My trainer, Maya, greeted me with a knowing look. Ready to level up? She asked. More than ever. 2 hours later, drenched in sweat but feeling stronger than I had in years, I checked my phone to find 3 missed calls from Louisa. Nora! Her voice dripped with a fake concern when I called back. I've been so worried. Are you okay? Never better, I replied, keeping my tone light. Just finished a great workout. Oh, she sounded disappointed. It's just, Jacob said you weren't answering his calls. My phone must be acting up. How's Savannah's nail salon coming along? The silence on the other end was delicious. What do you mean? Oh, nothing. Just making conversation. Hey, got to run. Meeting my lawyer for coffee. I hung up before she could respond, imagining her frantically texting Jacob. At the coffee shop, my lawyer, Rita, spread out the documents I'd brought her. These bank transfers, she said, pointing to the highlighted lines, they're definitely questionable. Using client funds for personal investments? That's not just unethical, it's illegal. I know, I sipped my latte, and I have proof he knew exactly what he was doing. What are you planning, Nora? Justice. But first, I need to know my assets are protected. Later that afternoon, I posted a carefully curated selfie. Self-care, summer begins now. New chapter, blessed. The lighting was perfect, showing off my first visible results from the gym, but subtle enough that no one would suspect anything. Savannah commented almost immediately, Love this journey for you. If only she knew. My phone buzzed again. This time it was Jacob. Where are you? His text read. We need to talk. I replied with a simple, can't today, busy with clients. It wasn't even a lie. My interior design business was thriving, something he'd always dismissed as my little hobby. That evening, while reviewing more bank statements, I discovered something interesting. Regular transfers from Jacob's business account to a shell company named SW Enterprises, Savannah Wells. He wasn't just funding her nail salon. He was laundering money through it. Oh, honey, I whispered to my empty house, you really should have married someone dumber. My phone lit up with a text from Audrey. Just bought the sexiest cruise outfits. Jacob's going to choke when he sees you. Jacob won't be seeing anything, I replied. He doesn't know it yet, but he's not going. Wait, but Savannah just posted about packing her new cruise shoes? I smiled, remembering the conversation with the cruise line. I'm sorry, but those names aren't on the manifest. The booking is only for 2 passengers. The next 3 weeks would be interesting. While they shot for their romantic getaway, I was preparing for something entirely different. Every gym session, every lawyer meeting, every careful social media post was another piece of the puzzle. Looking at the bank statements again, I noticed something else. Transfers to an account I'd never seen before. Following the money trail, I felt my heart race. This wasn't just about Savannah anymore. Jacob had been playing a much bigger game. "Checkmate, honey," I whispered, reaching for my phone to make one more call, this time to the ethics department of his investment firm. The cruise was just the beginning. By the time I was done, he'd wish infidelity was his only sin. "You're looking different," Jacob said across the dinner table, his eyes narrowing as he studied me. We were at his mother Abigail's house for the weekly family dinner, a tradition I now knew he used as cover for his afternoon meetings with Savannah. "Am I?" I took a small bite of salad, watching him squirm. 2 weeks until the cruise, and he still thought he was in control. "She's definitely lost weight," Louisa chimed in, her voice dripping with fake sweetness, "though God knows why she's bothering now." I smiled, remembering the email I'd sent that morning to Jacob's firm's ethics department. Anonymous, of course, with just enough breadcrumbs to start an investigation. "The cruise will be good for you both," Abigail said, clearly trying to break the tension. Sometimes couples need time away to reconnect. Savannah, who'd invited herself to dinner as usual, nearly choked on her wine. "Oh yes, the cruise will be transformative." She shot Jacob a look that made my blood boil. "Speaking of the cruise," Jacob cleared his throat, "we should discuss the arrangements." "Already handled," I cut in smoothly. "Everything's confirmed. I have the documents right here." I pulled out my phone, making a show of checking my email. Jacob's face paled slightly. What arrangements?" "Oh, you know, the usual. Cabin, dining preferences, shore excursions." I looked up innocently. "Is something wrong?" "No," he said quickly. Too quickly. "I just thought I was handling all that." "Worried about something, dear?" Before he could respond, Savannah jumped in. "I can't wait to try that infinity pool on the top deck. I bought the most amazing bikini for it." "Did you?" I turned to her, my voice honey sweet. "That's interesting." The room grew uncomfortably quiet. Even Louisa seemed to sense something was off. "Remember our first cruise?" I asked Jacob, watching him shift in his seat. "You were so seasick. You barely left the cabin. But this time will be different, won't it?" He forced a smile. "Everything's different now." "You have no idea," I murmured. After dinner, while helping Abigail with dishes, I deliberately left my phone on the counter. Right on cue, a text from my lawyer popped up. "Documents ready regarding financial misconduct. Meeting tomorrow at 10. I watched from the corner of my eye as Louisa noticed it, her face going pale. "Nora," she called out, trying to sound casual. "Your phone just buzzed." "Oh, thanks." I picked it up, making sure she saw me read the message. "Just work stuff." Later that night, lying in our separate bedrooms, my choice, though he told everyone it was mutual, I heard Jacob on the phone. "She knows something," he was saying in a harsh whisper. "No, I don't know what." "Yes, I checked the accounts. Listen, maybe we should postpone." I smiled in the darkness, remembering all the times he'd made me doubt myself. The subtle jabs about my weight, my career, my intelligence, the way he'd roll his eyes when I asked about our finances. "Don't worry your pretty little head about it," he'd say. My phone buzzed with a text from Audrey. "Girl, Savannah just posted another cruise pic. She tagged the ship and everything. Should we tell her?" "Not yet," I replied. "Let her keep shopping. Those shoes won't see any ocean views." Another text came through, this time from Maya, my trainer. "Killed it today. You're ready to rock that red bikini." I touched my stomach, feeling the new definition there. 10 years of emotional abuse had taken their toll, but 3 weeks of focused revenge were one hell of a motivation. The next morning, I left early, knowing Jacob would assume I was heading to a client meeting. Instead, I met with Douglas, his boss, at a quiet cafe across town. "These allegations are serious," Douglas said, reviewing the documents I'd brought. "If what you're showing me is true—" "Every transaction is documented," I replied. "I'm only here because I believe in doing the right thing." "Of course," he nodded, but his expression was grim. We'll need to launch a formal investigation. I understand. And Douglas? I'd appreciate if this meeting stayed between us. For now. Walking out, I checked my social media. Savannah had posted yet another cruise-related story. Can't wait for 2 weeks of paradise. Hope the champagne is cold. Oh, it would be cold all right. Ice cold. My phone buzzed with a message from Jacob. Where are you? We need to talk about the cruise. I typed back, can't talk now, in a meeting about our future. He had no idea how true that was. Good morning. Checking in for the Caribbean Paradise Cruise, I said brightly to the port attendant, sliding over my documentation. Beside me, Audrey could barely contain her excitement. Welcome aboard. I see you're in the Deluxe Ocean View Suite. The attendant smiled, typing away. Everything appears to be in order. We were early, deliberately so. I wanted front row seats for what was about to unfold. I can't believe we're actually doing this, Audrey whispered as we made our way up the gangway. What time did you tell Jacob to arrive? I didn't. I adjusted my new sundress, size 8, down from the 14 I'd been wearing when he called me fat. But knowing him, he'll show up exactly 30 minutes before departure, just enough time to make a grand entrance. Our suite was gorgeous, all crystal and chrome, with a balcony overlooking the port. I could see the growing line of passengers below, but no sign yet of Jacob or his mistress. Champagne? Audrey asked, already popping the bottle I'd pre-ordered. Not yet. I want to be completely clear-headed for this. Right on schedule, at 3:30 p.m., I spotted them. Jacob in his designer resort wear, Savannah trailing behind in 6-inch heels, both dragging expensive luggage. They looked like a couple from a luxury travel magazine. Showtime, I murmured, picking up my phone to record. Through the balcony's glass doors, we could hear the commotion clearly. What do you mean we're not on the manifest? Jacob's voice carried up. Check again. Duncan. Jacob Duncan. I'm sorry, sir. I've checked 3 times. There's no reservation under that name. That's impossible. I have the confirmation email right here. He fumbled with his phone, growing redder by the second. The attendant looked at his screen again. Sir, the confirmation number was modified 2 weeks ago. The current reservation is for Nora Duncan and Audrey McDonald. Modified? Savannah shrieked, stumbling slightly in her impractical shoes. What do you mean modified? Nora, Jacob bellowed, looking around wildly. Nora, I know you're here. Audrey snickered beside me. Should we wave? Not yet. Security was approaching now, drawn by the commotion. Savannah was crying, her mascara running. But I bought all new clothes. I told everyone I was going. Sir, ma'am, I'm going to have to ask you to step aside. You're holding up the line. Jacob's face was purple with rage. My wife did this. She changed the reservation. Sir, the reservation was modified by the primary account holder, which was always Miss Nora Duncan. Now please, step aside. I watched as reality finally dawned on his face. All those weeks he thought I was too broken to function, too stupid to act. He never once questioned why I seemed so calm. Now? Audrey asked, holding up her champagne glass. Now. We stepped onto the balcony, glasses raised. Jacob spotted us immediately, his jaw dropping. Bon voyage, honey, I called down, raising my glass. Sorry about the confusion. Guess I should have mentioned the change in plans. You bitch! Savannah screamed, but security was already escorting them away from the ship. Oh, and Jacob, I added as he was being led away. Check your work email. Douglas from the ethics committee sent something interesting this morning. The look of horror that crossed his face was better than any revenge I could have planned. As the ship's horn blew for departure, I finally took that sip of champagne. Below, I could see Jacob and Savannah having a full meltdown in the parking lot, their designer luggage scattered around them like fallen dreams. Wait, Audrey said, looking at her phone. Savannah's still posting. Listen to this. Some jealous wives can't handle seeing their men happy. Karma will get you, Nora. I laughed, pulling out my own phone. Opening Instagram, I posted the video I just recorded of their port meltdown, adding a simple caption, "Cheers to freedom. Best decision I've made in 10 years. New chapter, key, karma is real. The ship began to move, and I watched as the port and my old life grew smaller. Ma'am, a crew member appeared at our door. Complimentary sunset photography session starts in an hour on the upper deck. Perfect, I smiled. We'll be there. As we sailed into the open ocean, my phone buzzed with messages from Louisa, from Abigail, from dozens of mutual friends who were watching the drama unfold online. I silenced them all. You know what the best part is? I said to Audrey, watching the coastline disappear. He still doesn't know about the ethics investigation, or the forensic accountant's report, or his mother's statement to the investment board. You're terrifying, Audrey grinned. I love it. I raised my glass again, this time to the horizon ahead. To new beginnings. And somewhere behind us, a very expensive pair of cruise shoes would never touch a deck. Mind if I adjust your pose slightly? The photographer's voice was warm, professional. The sunset's perfect, but we want to capture your best angle. Of course, I replied, letting him guide my shoulder. His name tag read Patrick, and he had the kind of easy confidence that came from years of making people feel comfortable in front of a camera. Beautiful, he said, snapping a few shots. You're a natural. 2 days into the cruise, and I was already feeling more like myself than I had in years. The ship's gentle movement matched my newfound sense of freedom. These are gorgeous, Audrey said, peering at Patrick's camera screen. Nora, you look amazing. My phone buzzed. Another email from Douglas, Jacob's boss. Investigation proceeding. Need to discuss additional transfers found. Urgent. Excuse me, I said, stepping away to take the call. Nora? Douglas's voice was grave. The forensic team found something. Multiple accounts, all linked to Savannah's business. But it's bigger than we thought. Much bigger. How much are we talking about? 7 figures. And it's not just client money. He's been cooking the books for years. I closed my eyes, remembering all the times Jacob dismissed my questions about our finances. Send me everything. When I returned to the photo session, Patrick was packing up his equipment. Hey, he said, we're doing a sunset sailing excursion tomorrow. You should join. Great photo opportunities. I'd like that, I found myself saying. Back in our suite, Audrey was scrolling through social media. Oh my God, you have to see this. Savannah's having a complete meltdown online. I looked at her phone. Savannah had posted a long rant. Some women think they can steal your happiness, but karma comes for jealous, vindictive wives who can't handle the truth. The truth will come out. Revenge fails, toxic women. Should we tell her about the nail salon audit? Audrey grinned. Not yet. Let's see how she handles tomorrow's news first. Right on cue, my phone lit up with a text from Louisa. What the hell did you do? Jacob's being called into an emergency board meeting. I didn't respond. Instead, I opened my email and sent one final piece of evidence to the ethics committee. Proof that Jacob had been falsifying client returns for years. You know what's funny? I said to Audrey, watching the sunset paint the ocean gold. He always told me I was too stupid to understand finance, too emotional to handle money. Men like that, Audrey replied, they think they're so smart until they're not. My phone buzzed again, Abigail this time. Jacob's mother's message surprised me. I should have seen it sooner. He's just like his father. I'm so sorry, Nora. Before I could respond, a notification popped up. Jacob had posted on LinkedIn. Due to personal circumstances, I will be taking a leave of absence. They're suspending him, I told Audrey. The investigation's going public. Are you okay? She asked, studying my face. I never wanted to destroy him, I said quietly. I just wanted him to face consequences, to look in the mirror and see what he really is. A knock at the door interrupted us. It was Patrick holding a camera. Sorry to disturb you, but I caught something during our session today. He showed us a photo, me, laughing at something Audrey had said, the setting sun creating a halo effect. I looked happy, free. Would you like a copy? He asked. I'd love one, I replied, feeling my cheeks warm slightly. After he left, Audrey raised an eyebrow. He's cute. Stop it. Just saying, not everyone's a Jacob. My phone lit up with another notification, this time from a news site. Major investment firm launches fraud investigation. Then came Louisa's email. Subject line, what have you done? I opened it, reading her panicked words. They're saying it's millions, criminal charges. Savannah's being investigated too. You have to stop this. I thought about all the times Louisa had watched Jacob belittle me, all the times she joined in, thinking I was too weak to fight back. You know what the worst part is? I said to Audrey, closing the email without responding. They still think this is about the affair. They have no idea that I've spent 10 years watching, learning, and documenting everything. Receipts, Audrey nodded sagely, raising her glass. Speaking of receipts, I smiled, pulling out my laptop. Want to see what else I found in those financial records? Because sometimes revenge isn't about destroying someone. It's about letting them destroy themselves while you simply hold up a mirror. And tomorrow's sunset sailing excursion, that was just for me. The media's calling it the cruise curse, Audrey announced, reading from her phone as we boarded the sunset sailing excursion. Your Instagram followers have tripled since yesterday. I don't care about followers, I said, though I had to admit, watching Jacob's carefully constructed image crumble was satisfying. I care about justice. Patrick was already on deck, adjusting his camera settings. Ladies, perfect timing. The light's amazing right now. The smaller boat pulled away from the cruise ship, and I felt a strange mix of emotions wash over me. Part of me wondered if I'd gone too far, become too cold. My phone buzzed. Louisa again. You've ruined everything. Savannah's being investigated for money laundering. The sponsors are dropping Jacob's firm. Is this what you wanted? Before I could respond, another message came through, this time from Savannah herself. You think you're so clever? Wait until everyone sees what a vindictive bitch you really are. Attached was a photo of me from 3 years ago, at my heaviest, sleeping on the beach with my mouth open. A cruel shot Jacob had taken to mock me later. She's really posting that? Audrey peered at my screen. That's low, even for her. Let her, I said, putting my phone away. Every post just makes them look worse. Patrick approached, camera in hand. Mind if I get some shots of you near the bow? The way the sun's hitting the water is perfect. As he positioned me for the photo, his hands were professional but gentle, so different from Jacob's controlling grip. Beautiful, he murmured, but he wasn't talking about the shot. My phone buzzed again. This time it was Douglas. Board meeting concluded. Jacob's been terminated. Criminal charges pending. Thought you should know. Everything okay? Patrick asked, noticing my expression. Better than okay, I replied, and meant it. Back on the cruise ship that evening, Audrey and I attended the formal dinner. I wore a red dress I'd bought specifically for this trip, the kind of dress Jacob always said I couldn't pull off. You look stunning, an elderly woman at our table said. Your husband's a lucky man. No husband, I smiled. Just me. My phone lit up with a notification. Jacob had posted a video. Against my better judgment, I watched it. His face filled the screen, eyes red, voice breaking. Nora, please. I get it now. I understand what I did. The money, the lies, Savannah. I'm sorry. Please call me. Please help me fix this. Don't you dare. Audrey warned, seeing my hesitation. I won't, I said, deleting the video. He's only sorry he got caught. Later that night, standing on our suite's balcony, Patrick joined me. He'd been editing photos from the sailing trip. Want to see something amazing? He asked, showing me a shot he'd captured. In it, I was laughing at something Audrey had said, the wind in my hair looking completely free. I hardly recognized myself, I whispered. Sometimes we need distance to see ourselves clearly, he said quietly. My phone buzzed again. Savannah had posted another rant. The truth about Nora Duncan, a story of manipulation and revenge. Thread, War 23. Patrick raised an eyebrow at my laugh. Something funny? She thinks she's exposing me, but she's just proving my point. Every angry post, every accusation, they're just showing everyone who they really are. And who are you? He asked softly. Before I could answer, breaking news alerts flooded my phone. Major investment firm faces criminal investigation, and social media influencer linked to financial fraud scheme. I'm someone who finally stopped accepting cruelty as love, I answered. Patrick nodded, understanding in his eyes. Want to get coffee tomorrow? Just to talk? I'd like that, I said, surprising myself with how much I meant it. Later, alone in my suite, I opened my laptop to find an email from Abigail. The police came today. They're looking at everything. Jacob's asking for character witnesses. I told them the truth about how he treated you, about the money, about everything. I should have done it sooner. I'm so sorry. I closed the laptop, walking to the mirror. The woman looking back at me wasn't the same one who discovered her husband's affair 3 weeks ago. She was stronger, clearer, more herself. My phone buzzed one final time that night. Jacob again. Please, Nora. I'm drowning here. I thought about all the times I'd felt like I was drowning in our marriage, gasping for air while he held me under with his criticism and lies. Sometimes, I typed back, my first and final response, we think we're drowning, but we're just shackled to someone who already sank. Then I blocked his number and went to bed, looking forward to coffee with Patrick in the morning. The thing about rock bottom, I said, raising my glass at the cruise's final gala dinner, is that you either let it break you or you use it to rebuild. The strangers at our table nodded, not knowing the full weight behind my words. The news had broken worldwide that morning. Investment firm scandal. Deepens. CEO admits knowledge of fraud. Jacob's boss, Douglas, had finally cracked, revealing everything. To new beginnings, Patrick said beside me, his hand warm on my shoulder. Our coffee date had turned into daily sunset walks, easy conversations, and a connection I hadn't expected to find. My phone buzzed. Louisa again. They're freezing Savannah's assets. Her nail salon is being investigated. She's hysterical. Are you happy now? Everything okay? Patrick asked, noticing my expression. Better than okay, I smiled, putting my phone away. Just watching karma do its thing. Audrey appeared, champagne in hand. You have to see this. Savannah just went live on Instagram. We huddled around her phone, watching Savannah's tear-streaked face. This is all Nora's fault. She set us up. She knew about the money and waited until we were humiliated to expose everything. Actually, I said to our confused tablemates, he set himself up. I just stopped covering for him. The ship's captain approached our table. I hear we have quite the story here, he said warmly. The crew's been talking about nothing else. Would you do us the honor of giving a toast? Standing up, I felt all eyes on me. Not like before, when Jacob would make me feel small in crowds. This time, I stood tall. To everyone here tonight, I began, may you never confuse love with control, success with integrity, or silence with weakness. Sometimes the happiest endings start with saying enough. The room erupted in applause. An elderly couple at the next table wiped away tears. Back in our suite, I found an email from Jacob's mother. The police took him in for questioning today. He's asking for you. Says you're the only one who understands the books well enough to explain. Isn't that ironic? All those years he treated you like you were stupid. You're not going to help him, are you? Audrey asked, reading over my shoulder. No, I said firmly. He made his choices. Patrick knocked on our door, camera in hand. Last sunset of the cruise, he said. Want to capture it? On the deck, as the sky turned pink and gold, he showed me his favorite photos from the week. You changed so much from day one, he observed, like watching someone remember who they are. Maybe that's what this was all about, I replied. Not revenge, remembrance. My phone lit up with breaking news. Social media influencer Savannah Wells faces federal charges in investment scandal. Minutes later, Louisa called, sobbing, They're saying we could be accessories. We knew about the money, Nora. Please, you have to help us. No, I said calmly. I don't. But we're family. Family doesn't watch someone drown and call it love. After hanging up, I turned to Patrick. Would you think less of me if I admitted part of me enjoys seeing them face consequences? I'd think less of you if you didn't, he replied. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. Later that night, at the farewell party, I posted my final cruise photo, me in a white dress, laughing on the deck, looking nothing like the woman Jacob had called fat and stupid just weeks ago. Caption, Some men learn too late that wives aren't weak. We're strategic. The cruise curse, Horse karma is real. Within minutes, it went viral. Women started sharing their own stories of financial abuse, of partners who diminished them, of finding their strength. You've started a movement, Audrey said, showing me the trending hashtag. No, I corrected her. I just stopped being quiet about mine. Patrick pulled me onto the dance floor as the band played I Will Survive. Everyone joined in, not knowing how perfectly it fit my story. I'm heading to Thailand next month, Patrick said as we swayed. They say the sunsets there are incredible. Are you asking me something? I smiled. Maybe. Too soon? Maybe not. My phone buzzed one last time. A text from Douglas. Board wants to offer you a position. Head of Financial Oversight. Seems you understand numbers better than anyone. I showed Patrick the message, laughing at the irony. What are you going to do? He asked. Looking out at the ocean, I thought about the woman I'd been 3 weeks ago, standing in Louisa's kitchen, watching my world shatter. That woman had felt broken. This woman felt unbreakable. I'm going to do whatever I want, I replied. That's the thing about revenge. The best kind sets you free. The ship sailed on through the night, carrying me toward a future I never expected, but now couldn't wait to explore. All rise, the bailiff called out. I smoothed my skirt, standing with the rest of the courtroom as Jacob was led in, wearing an orange jumpsuit instead of his usual designer suits. He looked smaller somehow. His eyes found mine in the crowd, pleading silently. I held his gaze, remembering all the times he'd made me feel exactly this small. How do you plead? The judge asked. Jacob's voice cracked. Guilty, Your Honor. Beside me, Audrey squeezed my hand. On my other side, Patrick discreetly adjusted his camera. The court had granted him special permission to document the proceedings for a financial crime expose he was working on. Would the victim like to make a statement? The judge asked. I stood, my heels clicking against the floor as I approached the podium. The speech I'd prepared suddenly felt wrong. Instead, I looked directly at Jacob. You told me I was too stupid to understand finance, I began. Too emotional to handle money. Too fat to be seen with you. But here's what you never understood. I saw everything. Every transfer, every lie, every cruel word. I just waited until you hung yourself with your own rope. Jacob's shoulders slumped. Behind him, Savannah sat with her own lawyer, awaiting her separate trial. She'd traded her designer clothes for a modest black suit, her Instagram influence now reduced to cautionary tales about financial fraud. The defendant is sentenced to 8 years in federal prison, the judge announced, with restitution to be paid to all affected parties. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed. Ms. Duncan, how does it feel to be appointed as the new head of financial oversight at your former husband's firm? What advice do you have for other women in similar situations? I faced the cameras, thinking of all the messages I'd received since the cruise. Women sharing their stories, finding their voice, reclaiming their power. Document everything, I said clearly. Trust your instincts, and never let anyone make you feel small. That evening, at my favorite restaurant, I celebrated with Audrey, Patrick, and surprisingly, Abigail. Jacob's mother had become an unexpected ally, testifying against her own son to protect future victims. I got another call from the publisher, Patrick said, sliding an envelope across the table. They want your story, all of it. Including the cruise? I smiled, especially the cruise. My phone buzzed. A text from Louisa. I'm sorry, for everything. You were right about him, about all of it. Are you going to respond? Audrey asked. Some apologies, I said, putting the phone away, are about making the apologizer feel better, not the victim. She can keep hers. Patrick raised his glass to the woman who turned a revenge cruise into a revolution. Speaking of cruises, I grinned, pulling out an envelope of my own. I booked another one. Really? Audrey leaned forward. Thailand, I said, watching Patrick's face light up. I hear the sunsets are incredible. You're really going? Abigail asked. Why not? I've learned life's too short to wait for permission to be happy. Later that night, walking home along the river, Patrick stopped to take a photo of the city lights reflecting on the water. You know what I love about photography? He said, showing me the shot. It captures moments of transformation, like this river, always moving, always changing, but beautiful at every stage. I thought about my own transformation, from the woman who discovered her husband's affair to the one who brought down his criminal empire, from victim to victor. I got another message from Jacob's lawyer, I said. He's requesting a meeting. Says he wants to apologize properly. Are you going to go? I watched the river flow, strong and unstoppable. No, my closure isn't in his apology. It's in my freedom. My phone lit up with notifications. Women sharing the hashtag the cruise curse. But now it meant something different. It meant escape, empowerment, emergence. Ready to head home? Patrick asked. Home. Not the house I'd shared with Jacob, filled with his lies and my silence, but my new apartment with its wall of windows and no shadows to hide in. Actually, I said, I want to stay here a bit longer, watch the river. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't in the big moments, the courtroom victories, the public humiliations, the justice served. Sometimes it's in the quiet moments after, when you realize you're no longer afraid of your own reflection. I am Nora, and this is not a story about revenge. It's a story about remembering who you were always meant to be. The river flowed on, and somewhere in Thailand, a sunset was waiting.